Hello, 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 you beautiful people. My name's RainbowDave, and you're watching Farming Simulator 17 on Meadow Grove Farm, where today we've abandoned the Massey in the field. We're going to be doing some cultivating in Field 31. Got the teeny tiny cultivator from the Modern Classics pack on the back of the Case Maxim 5150 from, of course, the Classics pack, the Classics DLC, the Modern Classics DLC. I think there's a Classics pack that is a mod that is being tested on and off by Giants for the last couple of months, but seemingly keeps failing testing for one reason or another. I get the horrible feeling it's because it's an FS13, well, FS13 convert, FS11, that Classics pack that I loved so much as a DLC in FS13, which was free DLC. That thing dates back to FS11, so maybe don't expect to see that in FS17, and maybe don't want to see that in FS17 as much as I enjoyed it. So we're going to be using GPS mod, even though it wouldn't be, these tractors wouldn't have GPS ever. I'm using GPS just to kind of get neatish seeding or cultivating done. And I know that I'm not gone quite to the edge of the field. That's fine. I'll be doing headlands anyway. Not the end of the world. Just kind of want to give myself a bit of space to play with on the outside of the field. And in reality, possibly wouldn't actually cultivate that close to the edge of the field on the first pass. Well, you wouldn't on the first pass anyway. But even come up towards the end, you'd leave a little gap. Because most seeders now will deal with that by themselves. And I must say, and this is props to Meadow, this is a really nice looking cultivator. I know it's very similar to the one we had in FS13. It's actually slightly smaller, but it's just... I always say, oh, a trailer is a trailer is a trailer. A cultivator is much the same, but when you get a nice model like this, you kind of... I don't know, it somehow feels better than just generic piece of equipment number 797.2 that's in my arsenal of random equipment for mods and whatever. It feels better than other cultivators. You kind of want to use it more because it looks nicer. It reacts, I don't know, maybe more authentically. There's a million and one reasons you might want to use a particular piece of equipment. I remember in FS13 there was a set of plows. By NI modding, I think it was actually. Maybe Euro TZN. Where they'd skate over the ground for the first bit until they bit into the ground, and I loved them because they were realistic. You had to kind of plan for the plow to skip a bit when you were plowing. Even though back in the day, plowing wasn't 100% necessary. It was something that wasn't too overlooked by modders. I kind of feel like plowing now is. Plowing, cultivating is very overlooked. But what's overlooked the most by modders, I think, is baling. There's very few high-quality balers out there. Windrowers are just non-existent in terms of mods. Tethers are few and far between for the good ones. Mowers, you can find a good one fairly easily. Tractors are always going to be overrepresented. Seeders, I find myself always trying to look for a decent 6 meter seeder, so I don't have to keep using the Vaderstad that I keep using. I can't find one that I like, which is why you often, on most series, you'll see that I've used the Vaderstad, or I'll just use a 3 meter seeder instead. Very rarely I use 3-4 meters, but I'd use them instead because at least there's a range of them. 6 meters is just kind of overlooked for whatever reason. My phone just keeps going off for the last few days, and I've not been replying to, like, anything. I really need to get better at replying to things. I said in yesterday's video that I needed to message Simulate. I didn't do that yet because I just basically hit end recording, hopped into this and got it out of the field and put the baler away, and then hit record again. The baler, by the way, is in the shed that I was originally keeping the combine in, that I realised was way too small to be keeping the combine in, that I couldn't get the combine out. And I'm kind of half worried that might happen again. Is that a seed pallet there? That is a seed pallet there. Nathan does have very good LODs on this map now. He's got Ian 898's FPS script, which may or may not cause some FPS issues at times. I don't know. It definitely did when I loaded in this morning, or today. But that might be an on-load issue more than an issue with the script, because I was having those same problems on Sandy Bay on Saturday, and I do plan on, before the stream, just going for a reasonably quick zip around Sandy Bay to maybe hope dispel those problems a bit. Because I'm presuming it's a shader issue, which now having on 2 maps, it's more likely to be a shader issue. So the cows do still need grass. I do still plan on getting a Profi hopper in to deal with that, and I'll have to. I'm just realising I'm gonna have to take the load off the trailer to get the Profi hopper, because I want to bring the Profi hopper down on the low loader trailer instead of driving it halfway across the map. The Herbst loader is going to be very heavily used by me, kind of moving forward. I might. Let's get the Profi hopper now. It's in. I'm assuming I've got it activated. I do not have it activated, so I can't get the Profi hopper now. But I want to get the trailer now, because I completely forgot about the Flegel car trailers. Because this has... Can I just have the sides? No. This has the ability to pull... I'll double check that off camera, actually. I want to double check that I'm getting the one that has the ramp. Because I'd like to have a trailer dedicated to the Profi hopper, just in case I need to move around for whatever reason, if I decide to do some random lawn care videos or something, or just mow up a lawn at some point. I'd like the ability to move the Profi hopper around. Just kind of as a nicety thing. I do like, by the way, how the fields look in this game once you've got them mowed. Just the windrows look so good now compared to the way they used to. I know that they're a bit more annoying to deal with for map makers. It used to be the case you could put in decorative windrows on fields that were already harvested. You can't really do that anymore, which I'm gonna openly admit, I'm kind of sad about that, because there were maps that kind of, back in FS15 and 13, where you'd have, like, the opening screen would say, oh, you're coming in the middle of the harvest, and there'd be fields that are fully harvested, but have windrows of straw down, and you'd have grass fields that, instead of having grass in, would have hay windrows down, so you could start off baling if you really wanted to. It's a really weird out there start, just not even mow or harvest or prepare a field, but just start with a baler. A baler, a front loader and a trailer, and you know, get whatever equipment you can from that, after, if you really wanted to go insane on yourself. I don't know why you would want to. It looks like we'll get this field done in plenty of time today, which is awesome. I would like to hopefully maybe start seeding it today as well. I should mention I have forced ploughing off and just the one stage of fertilizer on. And I just want to check now actually real quick. So like, well, number one I can show you. Ploughing off, one fert state, withering off, and plant growth fast. That's fine. I will be periodically turning plant growth off and plant growth slow and plant growth normal as I deem necessary. As opposed to Sandy Bay where I'm not touching those settings at all. Which can cause some stress as it turns out. Because I'm constantly like, well, what if I take too long doing this and all my crops fail? Which makes things interesting. Much to the annoyance of some people. I would like, in the future, to do a similar challenge. Maybe once I kind of get to a point where, maybe not the end point that I planned for Sandy Bay, which is getting the wind farm windmill, but I'd like to do a challenge that's kind of similar in basic setup with similar starting equipment, you know, small, inappropriate starter equipment on maybe a bigger map, and up the ante by using seasons, and having, say, you know, 3 or 6 day seasons or something like that, and just really kind of up the ante on I've got to do things in a certain time frame, else they will not get done. That would be kind of interesting to me. But I guess, I don't know. It'd be kind of fun to do that, where I just have this really ridiculous set of rules where maybe I've got a vehicle that I have to use to get around or something like that. You know, when I'm not in a tractor, and maybe I've got to do something. You know, got to do X, got to do Y, got to do Z. I might sit down in front of a Google Doc at some point and come up with the most ridiculous set of rules for, most ridiculously difficult set of rules for a series I can come up with. Without throwing MR in, which that's just pointless. I might do that just kind of for funsies to see how difficult I can make the game. Because, like, even Sandy Bay, I'm playing the game on normal difficulty. Like, the instant way to increase the difficulty of that series would be to up the difficulty of the game to hard, which knocks down prices and increases fertilizer and seed costs. Or would if I was using the infinite ponds of them. But it ups the fuel price as well, and the water price and all that kind of stuff, and I think it increases the amount the animals need to eat. But I might come up with an even more, like, the most insanely difficult set of rules for farm sim that I can, just to see how far I can go. And I'll find a map that I like and maybe have that as a secondary challenge. Like, I could have the Sandy Bay challenge as easy mode, and then the insert map here challenge as this is the game on Dark Souls mode. Like, I could go so far as to say, no loan, if you go negative in money, you are done. Or something like that. I don't know. I'll probably come up with an insane set of rules and put them somewhere. Maybe do a secondary challenge stream series. Because it's fun doing the Sandy Bay challenge, but it kind of stops being fun when I'm doing the same job 3 days in a row. It'd be kind of nice to have something to break it up, and maybe a second challenge series would do that, where I could alternate the days. I'm trying to think of maps that have seasons. 'Cause I can't do Cobra because I'm already on Cobra. I could do Oakfield, but I don't think the interest is there yet for Oakfield the Return. I could do Thornton, but I'd need to find the insertion script to get the hedges and whatnot looking good. Could do it on the West Coast. It'd be kind of fun. I may do that. Let me know what you guys think of the vague idea that I just had of the most difficult challenge possible in Farm Sim. Maybe not the most difficult possible, because the most difficult possible would include MR and soil mod and stuff like that, but number one, soil mod ain't coming out for FS17. Number two, I just can't stand MR. And number three, I won't be using Gearbox mod, because I don't like Gearbox mod. Well, I don't like it enough to use it. I like the idea of it. I don't like the idea of rebinding half of my controls and having to use the clutch. Because the way I've got my controls set up now is the way that I'm comfortable with them in Farm Sim. If I suddenly start changing that, I suddenly start getting confused. Something I didn't say in yesterday's videos, before I started playing and recording today, I decided to go on iRacing real quick and just do a few laps to, I don't know, blow off steam, get steam together. I'm not entirely sure why I did it, but there's something about iRacing that just helps me, well, something about racing games in general, all of them, that help me concentrate. And there's something about iRacing that gets my stress levels up. I love it. Even though I was in private testing, it's like, I'm just gonna casually drive this IndyCar around Laguna Seca. That was the 2011 one, which for anybody who's ever played iRacing, you know, the 2011 IndyCar is just death. That thing just wants to murder you. The DW12, the last year's IndyCar, is already free to everybody on iRacing, which is awesome. I've been toying with that as well, and I can see why the IndyCar drivers had amazing races now in the last couple of years. This year's car, I don't know, but yeah, the drivers have been, I've been hearing from the drivers that it's really unstable in the draft, in dirty air, which that's not good. That's definitely not good for good racing. The DW12, the old IndyCar, had, I guess it's still the same base model, they've just changed the body kit. It just it feels good to drive. It's a nice car. Where anybody jumps in and says, Dave, you're not really driving it, it's a game. Yes, I'm aware, but everything's based off of actual data. Like, the tires are based off of, this is what a tire does in this situation, this is what the grip numbers are, this is what the deformation numbers are, this is what this number is. The model of the car is 100% true to life. It's all done by lasers and things like that. The aero numbers are real. You know, the aero handling is based off of the actual aero data from the car, and it's probably it's the closest you can get to driving one without driving one. Like this morning, before I was recording, I was driving a V8 supercar, and I have nothing but respect for the guys that actually drive those things, because granted it was an old model, but I have no idea how to get the brake bias set on that thing, because it just kept spinning out. Maybe the brake bias was set ridiculously low. But that wouldn't explain why the rear tire... No. The rear tires wouldn't have locked if... Oh, they would have! I should have... Oh, I've realised what my problem was. Ah. I was increasing the front... I was decreasing the front bias of the brakes in a car that... Yeah. Oh, that would... Yeah. Okay. Dave thinks about things and then actually realizes he was making a horrible mistake and making things worse. So, for the eggheads here, brake bias is basically how much of the brakes go to the front, how much go to the back. It's usually like a percentage. In the V8 Supercar, I think it was something around 38% front bias. I had rear locking, which meant that the brake bias was too far to the rear. I then decided to try and fix that by making the brake bias more to the rear. For some reason, that didn't work. I was still locking the front tires. And by the way, you can tell if the rears are locking because, simply put, the back of the car comes round. Because if the brakes... If the tires are locking and the wheels are locking and they're not spinning, they're not slowing down. So if the front wheels are spinning and slowing down, the rear ones are not spinning and not slowing down, but the front is slowing down, the rear suddenly wants to be in front of the front. And the car decides to do a bit of a spinneroo, and yeah, it doesn't end well. Incredible power in those, though. Wheel spin in third gear, nothing like it. I was also messing about with my beloved SpongeBob SquarePants painted Mazda MX-5, which I'm getting better with. I'm able to learn tracks in like 10 laps or less now, which is... Well, not learn them, but get to grips with them. Give me 20-30 laps and I have a vague idea of what I'm trying to do on the track. Which sounds like a lot, but it's really not. I should be doing hundreds of laps to get good, as they say in Dark Souls. But I don't, because I don't have the time, unfortunately. Possibly if I keep waking up as early as I did today, which was like 9:30 AM, I'll have the time to start learning tracks properly and doing well. And maybe even learning how to set up a car. But, yeah, we're almost done here, and we got... I think when we're done in this field, I'll just call it a video, because we're at 23, nearly 24 minutes in now, and I don't think there's much of a point in starting something with like 5 minutes left in the video, unless it's something that I can do within those 5 minutes, and there's nothing really there that I need to do. Is there? I think there is one thing I could do in 5 minutes or less. So I think we'll do that. It will involve me cheating some money in, because of course it will. I think it's something you guys will approve of. Will also involve me driving over and back across the map a couple times. So it might take a bit longer than 5 minutes, but I'm going to do it today, just so that it's done. And that is getting the Bobcat down to the piggeroos. Because I said when I was feeding the pigs that it would actually be a good idea to get a skid steer down there, possibly the Bobcat. And I had the Bobcat enabled the entire time, so I think I'll do that today, in a couple of minutes in fact. So we got this field finally cultivated. So we just need to clean up the top bit now. We got a field that is ready for seeding. In reality, I'd probably go through this field again with a power harrow or something, just to kind of get the seed bed sitting real nice. But this'll do. And yes, I did say in reality I probably would do extra work. Yes, because I mean, if you're gonna be realistic, you gotta go the whole hog. So we'll just magic our way through this hedge. That, and I'm gonna cheat money in to get the trailer I want for the Profi Hopper, because I can use that to get the Bobcat down to the pigs, instead of unloading the load all, which you can see over there, just behind the silage pit. It is just sitting off the trailer still, being nice and load all-y. Nathan, why are there 3 entrances to this yard? That's a bit excessive. So let's get money cheaty on. And we'll get... It's one of these two, I know that much. Can I just get, like... I don't know, structure side... Just sides? Okay, we'll just get standard structure. And we'll get... the Bobcat. We'll get a crawler track. Yeah, we'll get a crawler tracks for extra bit of money. We'll get, what shovel's bigger? 2,000 liters. 2,000 liters. We'll get the Bobcat shovel. Looks a bit more legit on the Bobcat. And we will get some pallet forks. And we'll also need to get some bale forks. This might require multiple trips, in fact. So let's get the case down to the shop. The second I start using mouse and keyboard, I hit something. Let's get the case down to the shop. And get the Bobcat loaded up on what I think is the right trailer, but it might not be. I am keeping an eye on the time of the video as well. If I can at least get the Bobcat down there with the shovel, and the reason that I'm bringing the shovel down, by the way, is so that I can potentially load manure down there as well. I do, like, the pigs multiply pretty quickly, so having some sort of loader available down at the pigs is a good idea at all times, always. And I haven't decided what manure spreader I want to use on this map, if I use one at all. Definitely Sandy Bay was starting off with a major muckout 250 by Peter J. That is just a beautiful trailer. You can see I haven't quite got all the nigglies sorted out with the frame rate, but we're getting there. I didn't come down this way when I was doing the shader loads, so it may get a bit wonky from time to time. Is this the trailer that I wanted? You can see I've already got the grassland harrow, by the way. Is this the trailer that I wanted, or is this the wrong one? I think this is the one that I wanted. So if I press X, it should unfold a ramp. It does unfold a ramp. Fan-dabby doozy. The ramp is off the ground because the ditch is a bit low. That's fine. So I'm gonna just keyboard this for a second. It'll be keyboard war. I don't necessarily need the bale fork, I realise. Could use the pallet fork for it, but we'll bring the bale fork down anyway. We'll have to make 3 separate journeys. And I'm hoping the Bobcat wants to load up nice and easily here. Gonna take it slow just in case it doesn't want to. Okay, looks like the trailer might actually be sitting a bit too low in the front. Yeah, it's sitting too low at the front. The ramp is borderline useless. So just take it off the tractor for a second. That's brought the ramp down to the ground. So now let's try loading again. You might notice that I'm going super slowly. That's just to be on the safe side of things, because I don't know how... Oh, hang on, this thing is four-wheel drive, technically. I know that it's, you know, a Bobcat. It has 2 tracks, but you need to turn four-wheel drive on. Because it acts as if it's got 4 wheels, which is why you'll see it bobbling a bit occasionally. Have I got this stuck? It was a bit stuck. We got it on the trailer at least. Whew, that's difficult. So let's get this over to the... Oh my... I maybe don't... Oh, I don't know if this is going to work. Because it's actually... Do I need to move the Bobcat forward? Yeah, I think I do. I need to load up the rear wheels of the tractor. As the way the Bobcat is currently set, it's not loading up the rear wheels. That might help. That's helped a lot, actually. So head down to the pigs, unload the Bobcat, and just take off the pallet forks. Okay, still a bit light on the rear. I'll do the rest of this off camera. We'll get the pallet forks at the very least down to the pigs today. I'm thinking the Herbst might be a better option just for bringing the rest. But this is terrifying because I know the rear end of the tractor is really light right now. There's nothing I can do about it. If I got a front weight, that'd actually make matters worse. Like you can hear it every time we go over a bit of a bump. That would unload the rear end just the tiniest bit. Normally, it's really just almost hopping off the ground. I need to take the turn by the BJ. Fine. It's gonna unload here. It's gonna unload at the top of this hill over here. It's fine when it's like the bottom of a hill, because that loads up the rear end. But once it hits the top, the rear end kind of unloads a bit, and it gets a bit scary. And by a bit scary, I mean it's terrifying. Also, I think the Bobcat's shifting. So there's the placeable area, by the way. If you want to put down a couple of placeable sheds there or something, you can. Okay, we're almost there now. Just a couple more turns of terror to take. And we'll be at the yard. That's gonna load the rear end. Okay, that was the worst turn on the map because that unloaded the rear end while I was turning. So now we can, in theory, just unload the Bobcat. There we go. Perfect. Can I lift the truck? Oops. No, that's not what I wanted to do. Can I, just out of curiosity, now that I got four-wheel drive on, can I load the Bobcat with the tractor turned on? Kind of, but two of the quote-unquote wheels fall off. the trailer. So that's fine. We'll just park this up over in here. And by park, I mean put down the pallet forks and reload it onto the trailer. But that is going to do it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. I'll leave you by saying I've been RainbowDave. You have been watching Farming Simulator 17 on Meadow Grove Farm. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. And don't forget to turn on notifications to see whenever I'm live or whenever I put up a new video. And maybe I should load in reverse from now on, because that'll actually... Whoops. That'll load up the rear... Have I got the Bobcat stuck? Maybe I should load in reverse, because that'll put the biggest weight of the Bobcat down on the rear tractor. Although that might now have the front wheels unloading. How does this drive now? Perfect! Bobcat's confused. Haha! Until next time, stay safe. And remember, when a Bobcat's on a trailer, it's always reversing. Bye-bye.